Hello and welcome to Post to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey, all 30 teams, soon to be 31. In today's episode, we're going to discuss what happened last night between the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Florida Panthers. And I'm wearing my old school Florida Panthers hat that I got when I was, I think, 5 years old from a hockey tournament. And Justin has on the Toronto Maple Leafs hat, so trying to support some merch here for both of those teams. But the situation was Boyle hit Reimer in the head, and Reimer was not okay. I think he left the game and was replaced by Red O'Bear or someone. I can't remember. But yeah, he was injured on the play, and it's just another scary situation, another one of these hot topics where something happens and we have to discuss it. So like the other ones that we've made, a disclaimer, we're not saying we're right. This is just a broad, open discussion, and we're just, we're going to look at all aspects of this. We're not saying we're right. We're just going to discuss it. And it's not just a discussion between us, it's a discussion between you guys. So if you leave a comment, whether you agree or disagree with us, be respectful and be constructive, not only towards us, but to other people in the comment section. So let's begin. I'm just going to show it here behind us on my green screen, so it'll play behind us and you'll be able to see it. And in the other videos, I just showed it standalone video clip, and I didn't want to do that because I didn't want to, come across any that I was, trying to steal any footage or anything like that. This is I want it to be an editorial fair use. So we're going to show the clip behind us and talk about it. So Boyle comes in, and I think it's Demers who's in front of him, and they go around the net, and Demers goes wide of Reimer, and Boyle cuts tight and hits Reimer because Reimer's trying to he's out of the net a little bit, but he's trying to make a save. He's trying to keep the puck out of the net. So and Boyle clips him in the head, and he goes down, and there's a fight afterwards. I think Boyle fights Demers or someone. So what did you think about the situation?
Well, I mean, man, I feel so bad for Reimer. That guy's a stand-up guy. He's just a genuine human being, amazing person. But my first reaction was, okay, did he actually make an attempt to try to avoid contact with Reimer? And to me, it's 100% no. He didn't even try to flinch, get out of the way, nothing. And Reimer had kind of established his position just past the post a little bit before Boyle even came into the picture. So, I don't really go with the argument either that, Boyle didn't know he was going to move there. Well, he was there, quite early compared to Boyle coming into that area. And to me, you got to make an attempt to try to avoid the goalie. And I always get tired of the argument of, oh my God, they have more padding and equipment than anybody. It doesn't help you if the main point of contact is your head, right? And Boyle just made strict contact with Reimer's head. I don't even think he really made contact with anywhere else on his body but the head. And, if he doesn't have a severe concussion from this, my goodness, I'll be in shock. But yeah, you got to make an attempt to try to avoid the contact with the goaltender like that. And there's absolutely no intent to avoid contact. So to me, it's very possible that the Department of Player Safety could take a look at this and say, hey, he could be suspended a game or two for this.
It's much like the Eddie Lack situation where he gets hit in the head and he's not prepared for it. Yeah. So if you know what's coming, you can brace for it a little bit, and it could deafen the blow a little bit and prevent an injury. But I don't think Reimer was expecting to get hit in the head, much like Eddie Lack wasn't expected to get hit in the head. And obviously those situations are a little different, but the Reimer situation to me, and before I give my opinion, I've said this before in other videos, we go into these videos not telling each other our opinions. We don't discuss anything. We just, we have a topic, and we do this because we want the conversation and the flow of this to be as genuine as possible. Right. So I agree with you 0.5% or 50%, and the other part of me disagrees with you, but not totally. I'm kind of on the fence with this play. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the clip, it looks to me like Boyle cannot see where Reimer is based on how close he is behind Demers. So there's a line of sight issue there. And by the time that Demers gets out of the way, it's almost too late for Boyle to move. And that's, I think, a bit of it. But the other half is there's not a lot of time, but he could have made he did in the video, he made no try, no attempt, nothing to get out of the way, even though he did have that split second moment to try and move. He didn't. And so I think part of that has to do with the line of sight. He didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to the last second, but he also didn't make a attempt to get out of the way, which is the problem. He hit him, and, he didn't see him to whether it was accidental or not, the onus is on Boyle. You can't do that. You can't hit a goalie in the head. You have to be more careful. And Reimer was out of the net a little bit, and I don't want to victim blame. I'm not victim blaming. If Reimer's protecting the net, goalies are allowed to play a little bit out of the net. He wasn't far out of the net. I'm just saying that when he get hit, he wasn't in his crease, kind of. He was a little bit out of it. So again, not victim blaming. But at the end of the day, this is Boyle's fault, regardless if he meant to do it or not. And I don't think there'll be any suspensions. I don't think there'll be any fines. That's my prediction. He might have a call or something like that with the NHL or the league or player safety. But it is of my opinion that no disciplinary action will be slapped on Boyle.
Well, I think the thing that works in Boyle's favor here is he didn't, flail an arm or stick an elbow out. There was nothing like that. So you can't really instantly say, well, geez, that was malicious as hell. He full out wanted to injure Reimer. I don't think that's the case. I mentioned just a moment ago that, the NHL player safety department could take a look at this. There could be a suspension. Do I think he would be suspended for it? I'm going to say no. I don't think he'd be suspended for it. But, it's kind of shocking to me that, okay, even if, like you had mentioned as well, line of sight, there's still a split moment where as you're coming in, you're going to see the guy. And he didn't flinch, twitch, wiggle, absolutely nothing. He just kept going straight forward. And Boyle is a big boy. What is he, 230?
Yeah,
240?
he's not.
Imagine that coming in, at the speed he was and making direct contact with only your head. Reimer's a tough customer. Hey, he's a hockey player. All hockey players can be tough, but dang, I think that would have took the head off my shoulders if I were in that and that happened to me. But, my heart goes out to Reimer. I really like the guy, and I hope he's going to be okay. But it's just one of those unfortunate plays, and, I just really question Boyle's actions just a little because the guy didn't flinch or anything going in there, and that's concerning.
I like what you said in two ways there. You said, Boyle's size could have something to do with it. He's like 6'6", 6'7", something like that, 240 pounds or whatever he is. Yeah. And I also like that you said, Reimer's a stand-up guy.
He is.
And I think we both hope that he gets well soon, regardless of how serious or not serious the injury is. Anytime you hit in the head and you have to leave a game, I think that's considered a serious incident. Mm-hmm. So we definitely pass our best wishes on to Reimer and hope he gets well soon, regardless of how serious the injury is. And we hope Boyle maybe thinks a little harder next time or tries to make it even just a little bit of attempt to get out of the way.
Well, he's a hard-nosed player too,
Yeah.
He's the type of guy who doesn't really shy away from rough stuff. You saw him answer up to it immediately, right? After he made contact with Reimer, it's, okay, I did something bad, I need to answer up to it. But he's the type of guy, he doesn't care. He's going to answer up to it. Hard-nosed player. And, he's the type of player that Toronto really needed. So, kudos to them for bringing him in. I've always liked Boyle as a player. But, I'm just really questioning this play because, man, I didn't see 1 ounce of him trying to get out of the way. Now, would it have been as severe as, say, TJ Oshie? He's a perfect example of a smaller guy, making contact with Reimer. I'm sure it wouldn't have been to the magnitude of this. But, Boyle is huge. And you take that much weight coming at you at that speed, making contact with your head, it's never going to end well.
Yep. And at the end of the day, the Florida Panthers organization loses. Reimer loses. And, they lost in general. They lost the game. So,
yeah.
Everybody lost in the Florida situation last night, but that pretty much wraps it up. If you disagree with us, that's totally fine. If you agree with us, that's fine too. Leave a comment down below and tell us how you feel. Be respectful, be constructive towards us and towards anyone else in the comment section. If you're not subscribed, we really hope you hit the subscribe button. We're discussing things like this on almost a daily basis and other things. All things hockey is basically the slogan of the channel. We do fun things like trivia. We've got a trivia video on the channel. Go check that out. We're doing a giveaway very soon, probably in the next couple days.
Yep.
It's been almost two weeks since we announced that, I think. So we're doing that coming up, and there's tons of other videos on the channel. So we hope you subscribe and see our newest videos upcoming, and we hope you check some of our old ones out if you haven't seen those yet. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Adios.